Hey, this is Sam and Michael from Jaeger, and you are watching RichardMetalFan.
Hey, what's up, guys? Episode 193 of Richard Metal Fan Interviews here at Boggs Social and Supply in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm here with half of Jaeger. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right, man. Good.
Doing good. Yeah. For those of you who might not know who you are, can you guys give a little introduction and tell us what you do?
We play really lame power metal out of right here in Atlanta.
All right.
We formed in, what was it? You formed earlier.
It's hard to say because it started somewhere with a different lineup. It's like pretty much 2020.
Yeah. So I know you're on this gonna play this awesome show tonight with our other friends in Violate, and of course the main tour is Paladin and Lutharo. So how excited are you guys for the show tonight?
Oh, dude, I'm super stoked. I've been a Paladin simp for a while, so it's always cool to play with those guys.
Yeah, we're super tight with them. So like they're buddies of ours, and we always look forward to playing with them. They're great.
Awesome. So kind of what I want to do is talk about like your musical journey and talk about the history of the band. So kind of growing up, what were the bands that got you two into metal? What made you want to play your respective instruments?
Like the OG was the Justice album from Metallica, and from there it went, pretty much everybody's story. The gateway bands, and then got into heavier stuff, and then 180'd back into like power metal, and so I guess like Rhapsody of Fire and Gamma Ray and stuff like that are like the two. Yeah.
All right. What about you?
Yeah, for me, I think I started like Sam did with thrash, but I started with a lot of Megadeth, and I got into power metal, I think, through Blind Guardian was one of the first bands I listened to.
Yeah, they're the shit.
Yeah, so like I was fortunate that they were one of my first power metal influences, and then so for me, I mean, like listening to thrash, they didn't really sound like me as vocalists, but power metal artists did. So then after Blind Guardian, I just kind of like kept listening and vibing with them. So.
All right. And what were you guys' bands pre-Jaeger?
A lot of really terrible bands. I played in let me start at the beginning. The last decent band I was in was a band called Evenfall out of Dothan, and that fell apart through a lot of reasons. Then I was in a band called Death Before Dying for about a month, and then that got real weird. Eventually I moved out here, and Jaeger's been like the most serious thing I've ever been in.
Right.
Yeah, I played the first, like, I guess real band that I played in was like an alternative rock kind of like progressive thing called the Radar Cinema. We were kind of located out of we were located in like Athens, which was interesting, and other places. Like we played around a little bit, and then I started playing in Thunder Shield about 10 or 11 years ago. So yeah, did my thing with Thunder Shield, and that's my history.
All right. And how did Jaeger form? Because I believe y'all formed 2016, 2017.
Yeah, it's hard to say. 2017-ish, around there. It's hard to say because it was originally me and another guitar player, and we were just trying to figure out what we were doing. We had a handful of songs written, and I actually had driven up here. It was like I used to drive like 4 hours to Atlanta all the time to see shows, and I'd come to see his other band, Thundershield, play. And at that point, I was like, well, this dude's a badass. We should see if he'll sing for us. So that was probably 2018, and then from there it was just a process of moving out here and me and this dude getting together with the rest of them, and it probably didn't really take hold until like 2020-ish is what we have the lineup we have now.
Yeah, tell me about, like, I guess your first song you put out was the Over Frozen Fields, which was a demo from 2018. Tell me about, like, that song. What's that song about?
Yeah, so when Sam reached out to me in 2018, it was kind of, he just sent me that demo basically of music and was like, hey, what do you think? And I was expecting, like, I guess more pure power metal, and there was like some symphonic elements and things like that. Yo, what's up?
We're doing an interview.
It was actually this demo that I sent out.
Yeah. But where was I? Oh yeah. He sent the demo, so it gave me some lyrical ideas. And that story's funny because I wrote that song about Vikings essentially, just on a whim. And no, you're good. And So I did all the lyrics and kind of vocal melodies and writing. Sam didn't hear any of it until after I had already laid everything down in studio. So like he really trusted me with that track, and it could have gone super, I guess, sideways. But he trusted me, and it came together. And yeah, I'm still super proud of that song. It was like our first go, and I don't know, worked out great
Yeah, that song was kind of the test run.
for this lineup.
Yeah, this
can hear ya.
yeah, that song was like kind of the test run that if this was going to work at all. So, like, we were stoked with it after it got finished, and it's funny. I go back to that song, and it's funny because just how much has happened since then. So you mentioned that, and I was just like, oh yeah, that whole adventure. But yeah.
Yeah, when I first heard it kind of has a little bit of a melodic death metal vibe instrumentally, but with the power metal vocals. So I'm guessing like everybody sort of like brings like their own influence into Jaeger.
Sure, yeah. So I mean, like I said, I grew up on, I started the Metallica thing and just got heavier. So a lot of like Bodum and At the Gates and stuff, and I was just always like, what if the guy playing this could actually sing? So
Yeah. 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 And then also love to talk about, you did a Megadeth cover of Addicted to Chaos. Like, tell me about like that song and what made you decide to do a cover of that song in particular.
we just thought it would be weird. Like, there's not much to it than that. I think we were talking about doing a cover at some point, and Michael suggested Addicted to Chaos, and he was like, what if we just did an acoustic version of it? Just kind of didn't really think too hard about it, and then of course we thought way too hard about it and turned it into a whole thing.
Yeah, I think at the time, when we released it, Dave Mustaine had gotten sick. So, we had this idea kind of rattling around, and we were like, now's probably a good time just to show support for him, just as an influence. So, and I've always loved that song. I think that entire album is like underrated. I say it over and over. Like, Euthanasia is completely underrated as an album, and
Some good bangers.
yeah. So
Bang Day and shit.
it's great, yeah. So like, and I my first album from Megadeth, strangely, wasn't Rust. It was Countdown. So
Another good album.
yeah. So that kind of '90s era is I've got a soft spot for that era. So
Oh yeah, yeah, and I love how the acoustic version almost kind of like changes like the feel and the emotion behind it.
yeah, I mean, I thought there was opportunity there just listening to the music to do that kind of strip down, and yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, and then tell me about like your latest two songs being The Wild Hunt and Pity the Prey. Was that like something for like the debut full-length Jaeger album? So tell me about like those songs. How was the writing and composition of them?
Yeah, so those are definitely the songs that are going to be on the album coming out as soon as it's finished, which hopefully will be by the end of the year. Yeah, they're just not a whole lot to it. We kind of picked like, these songs are done, let's put them out. So I mean, we wrote those like we do most of them. I just come up with a riff and build off of there, and then I sit with this clown and we figure out vocal stuff. And
Yeah, it's Pity the Prey was that was one that we knew that I think we wanted to put a lyric video to, just because of the lyrical themes, I guess. Like we're most proud of that lyrically, but The Wild Hunt is kind of just it's kind of a synopsis of the entire concept of the album. Like, we're working with this kind of like pity, prey, nature, one with nature kind of like themes for this album. Yeah, so like there's this like the Wild Hunt is just as a concept, it's rooted in a lot of German mythology and kind of end of the world kind of themes. So like for me anyway, writing a lot of these songs, there's the initial concept of like the album, but also like right now, especially with 2020 and like how we got together during COVID and all those things, it really feels like emotionally like end times in some ways, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it feels super dramatic right now. So The Wild Hunt just felt like a really, really good kind of story and analogy for a lot of the themes that we have in the album.
Yeah, and tell me about like the lyrical process. Does it like come from like a personal experience, or do you try to put yourself in like that mind frame to get that sort of creativeness with the lyrics?
Yeah, I was just talking to Sam about this the other day. Like, I don't know how bands write songs without like stories. I have to write like a weird backstory to all my songs and have like narratives for me to write anything. I I like to write songs that on the surface level are about one thing, but like coded within it are things that mean something personal to me that I'm just too shy to talk about. So I don't know. That's how I approach lyric writing, I guess, is just being, I guess, vague and obscure. I don't mean to be, but, you know.
He's the smart artistic one. I just play caveman riffs.
Yeah. So kind of like in the end, what's next for Jaeger? I know you're playing this awesome show tonight, and I know you got the new album hopefully coming out by the end of the year. Is there anything else you'd like to plug?
Just pounding away on the album. We've got a lot of people wanting to know when it's coming, and it's the easy answer is when it's done, which hopefully will be by the end of this year. I mean, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to book more shows. We want to start touring. So far, we've only played shows local to Atlanta. So we'd love to book some tours outside of Atlanta. Finishing the album clearly, working on our single for the album. So we will be releasing a single to the album, and with that will be a music video with it. So we're concepting that right now and working with a video production company to put that out as well.
Awesome. So thank you guys for
Thank
taking
you.
the time to do this. Is just any final words you want to say to the viewers that are watching?
Listen to metal and do cool stuff.
Yeah. Same. Ditto. Hope you like us.
Awesome. So everybody, Jaeger, see you next time.